As dawn breaks and the first light of day spills over the landscape, the silhouette of a medieval castle emerges against the horizon, a testament to humanity's quest for security and grandeur. The air is crisp and still, carrying the distant calls of awakening birds and the gentle rustle of leaves stirred by a morning breeze. This castle, standing proud since the 12th century, embodies not only the architectural feats of its time, but also the stories of those who lived within its stone embrace. Approaching the castle, one is greeted by the imposing height of stone walls, meticulously hewn from local quarries over centuries. These walls, some reaching heights of 25 feet, serve as silent guardians of the life they encircle. They reflect the era's engineering prowess and the necessity for fortification in a world where peace was as delicate as a castle keeps finest lacework. With stones weathered by time, each craggy surface tells a tale of resilience against the elements and human conflict. The towering gates crowned with wrought iron portcullises stand as a threshold between the serene, sprawling countryside and the bustling microcosm within. As you pass beneath the archway, the transition from the outside world to the secluded community within is palpable. Like stepping back into an age where life moved at the rhythm of seasons and the ticking of the sun. The clang of metal and murmurs of conversation weave a tapestry of sound that fills the air with a sense of continuity and timelessness. Inside, the courtyard's cobblestones echo with the footsteps of those who once lived and worked within these walls. It is a space alive with purpose, where knights polished their armor, artisans crafted their wares, and children chased each other in playful abandon. The smells of smoke and earth blend subtly, hinting at the labors of the castle's kitchen and the fertile lands beyond. The architecture of the castle reflects both the defensive needs and domestic comforts of its inhabitants. The keep, a multi-storied fortress within the fortress, is the heart of this community. Thick walls protect living quarters, storerooms, and a chapel. Here, lords and ladies dwelled amid tapestries and hearths, creating a juxtaposition of warmth against the stone's chill. Windows, narrow slits in the outer walls, offer glimpses of the outside world, framed by thick stone embrasures. These arrow loops serve a dual purpose: to let in light and in times of strife provide vantage points for archers, yet in the silence of the night or the still of dawn, they offer views of a world at rest, where the gentle roll of hills meets the sky's vast expanse. In the great hall, the heart of castle life, long wooden tables stretch beneath rustic chandeliers, their flickering candlelight casting dancing shadows on the walls. This room, a place of feasting and fellowship, hosted banquets that celebrated the harvest and alliances forged through marriage and diplomacy. The tapestries hanging from the walls tell stories of valor, love, and betrayal. Their colors faded yet vivid in the mind's eye. And so, as the years passed, the castle remained both a fortress and a home. It was a place where the echoes of laughter and the solemnity of prayer coexisted, where the rhythm of daily toil was punctuated by the distant toll of the chapel bell. The castle's very walls absorbed these sounds, preserving them in their ancient embrace like whispers of a bygone era. As you lie in bed, eyes closed, imagine the cool stone beneath your fingertips, the earthy scent of the courtyard, and the soft murmur of life wrapped in the comforting cocoon of history. The castle, then, was more than just a structure. It was a sanctuary where every stone bore witness to human strides and struggles, to the interplay of light and shadow, and to the passage of time itself. As the evening draws near and a gentle dusk settles over the landscape, the castle's silhouette stands resolute, bathed in the warm glow of twilight. the sounds within quiet, leaving only the soft rustle of the wind and the distant call of a nightingale, the first of the evening's serenade. In this tranquil setting, you, too, can find a moment of peace, as if the very essence of the castle seeps into your dreams, carrying you to a world where time is but a gentle river flowing through the heart of history. In the medieval castle, each day unfolded like a carefully orchestrated symphony, its rhythm dictated by the light of the sun and the duties of its inhabitants. As dawn's first light crept over the horizon, the castle began to stir. Servants were the first to awaken, their day starting with the lighting of fires in the great hall and the preparation of the morning meal. The air was crisp and cool, the stone walls holding on to the night's chill, slowly surrendering to the warmth of the flickering hearths. With the sun's ascent, the lord of the castle would rise. His chamber, often located in a solar, was a space of relative warmth and privacy, adorned with tapestries and animal skins. Here he would break his fast, often with bread, cheese, and ale, as he reviewed the day's tasks with his steward. The steward, a vital figure in the management of the estate, would outline plans for the day, addressing matters of land management, justice, and the welfare of the castle's people. The lady of the castle had her own set of responsibilities to attend to. Her day began in similar fashion, perhaps overseeing the education of her children or attending to the embroidery that decorated both the family's clothing and the castle itself. In castles such as those lining the Welsh marches, ladies were known to engage in the making of medicinal remedies, utilizing herbs from the castle gardens. As the morning matured, the castle courtyard bustled with activity. Craftsmen and tradesmen arrived, plying their wares and offering their services. Blacksmiths, with faces smudged from their forges' soot, labored over horseshoes and weapons. Their rhythmic hammering provided a steady backdrop to the scene, as did the occasional cry of livestock being herded from the stables to pasture. Knights bearing the weight of their chainmail assembled in the courtyard for training. Under the watchful eye of the castle's marshal, they practiced their swordplay and honed their skills in the art of mounted combat. This was a disciplined affair, for knights were bound by oaths of chivalry and service, their prowess reflecting the honor of their lord's house. The midday meal brought a momentary pause to the relentless activity. In the great hall, filled with the aroma of roasted meats and freshly baked bread, the lord and his family dined alongside their guests and higher-ranking servants. The hall itself, often grand with high ceilings and large wooden tables, would echo with conversation and the occasional laughter, creating an atmosphere of communal warmth. Afternoon tasks resumed as the sun began its slow descent. Servants tended to various chores, from laundry to the maintenance of the outer defences. In castles like Bodiam in East Sussex, the moat was a critical feature, requiring constant attention to ensure its waters flowed freely, deterring would-be invaders. The lady of the castle might spend the afternoon attending to the needs of the poor, distributing food or clothing, a testament to the castle's role as a centre of feudal responsibility. Meanwhile, the lord could be found in the solar or a private chamber, meeting with vassals or adjudicating over disputes, his decisions carrying the weight of law. As evening fell and the sky took on hues of amber and violet, the castle prepared for supper. This meal, less grand than the midday feast, was still a communal affair. Candles flickered on tables, casting warm, dancing shadows on the stone walls. Musicians might play softly in the corner, their melodies providing a gentle backdrop to the end of the day. Finally, as night settled, the castle grew tranquil. Guards took their posts along the battlements, their figures silhouetted against the moonlight. The sounds of the day, so vibrant and full, gave way to the soft whisper of the wind through the turrets and the occasional call of a night bird. In their chambers, the inhabitants of the castle retired to their beds, enveloped by the comforting routine, their lives intertwined with the ancient rhythms of the medieval world. And so, The cycle continued, each day a testament to a way of life both demanding and deeply interconnected, where the roles of each castle dweller contributed to the greater harmony of this stone-clad stronghold. In the heart of the medieval castle, the Grand Hall stands as a testament to the opulence and grandeur of bygone eras. It is here that the rhythmic pulse of castle life beats strongest, where the echoes of laughter and conversation mingle with the soft clatter of crockery and the gentle crackle of the hearth. As we step into the expansive hall, allow your senses to absorb the atmosphere. The warm golden glow of candlelight dances upon stone walls, casting elongated shadows that move with a life of their own. The air is rich, filled with the savory aromas of roasting meats and fragrant herbs. It is a sensory tapestry woven from the earth's bounty, a blend of thyme, rosemary, and sage that seem to tell tales of distant lands, all carried gently on the air. During the medieval period, spanning from the 5th to the late 15th century, the castle's kitchen was a hive of activity, a bustling microcosm within the larger framework of castle life. Imagine the kitchen, a place of controlled chaos, where cooks and their assistants work tirelessly over open flames. The heart of this operation is the massive stone fireplace, where spits turn slowly, laden with meats. Venison, boar, and fowl, hunted from the surrounding forests, are prepared with great care. Meat was a staple of the noble diet, and its preparation was both an art and a necessity. As we walk through the kitchen, the sounds of chopping and the steady rhythm of stirring greet our ears. There is something almost meditative about this steady cadence, a reminder of the skill and dedication required to prepare a feast fit for nobility. Standing at the helm of this culinary brigade is the master cook, a respected figure within the castle hierarchy. This role, akin to a modern-day executive chef, was often filled by someone with years of experience and an innate understanding of flavors and ingredients. And so, with the feast prepared, the scene shifts back to the grand hall. It is here that the true spirit of medieval hospitality comes alive. Long wooden tables are adorned with richly embroidered linens, and platters overflowing with food are set in a grand display. The hall is filled with the hum of anticipation, guests dressed in their finest attire, eager to partake in both the food and the company. Feasting in the medieval castle was not merely about sustenance, it was a ceremony, a display of power and wealth. The lord of the castle, seated at the high table, was flanked by honored guests and family members. This arrangement underscored the social hierarchy, yet the atmosphere was one of camaraderie, a shared joy in communal dining. As the evening unfolds, the interplay of light and shadow continues its dance across the hall. The flickering glow of torches and candles lends a certain intimacy to the gathering, a timeless quality that seems to envelop everyone in attendance. The conversation flows as freely as the wine, stories and laughter resonating off the stone walls. And in the corner, a minstrel strums a lute, the gentle notes weaving through the air, adding a melodic background to the warmth of the evening. Music was an integral part of medieval gatherings, enhancing the mood and offering moments of reflection amidst the revelry. It is easy to imagine the delight of those gathered, the simple pleasure of good company and the shared joy of a bountiful feast. In time, as the evening draws to a close, the grand hall begins to quiet. The guests, satisfied and content, bid their farewells. The remnants of the feast are cleared away, the echoes of merriment lingering like wisps of smoke, and so the cycle of castle life continues, each feast a memory woven into the rich tapestry of history, a reminder of the enduring human spirit and the simple joys of sharing a meal. As you lie in bed, envision the sights and sounds of this ancient gathering, the warmth of the fire and the camaraderie of those long gone. In this peaceful contemplation, let the echoes of medieval feasts lull you into a gentle sleep, a journey through time where the past and present momentarily intertwine. In the heart of the medieval landscape, the castle stood as a formidable testament to human ingenuity and the art of defense. Constructed from stone quarried from nearby hills, its towering walls and imposing bastions were not only a display of feudal power, but a home for the knights who pledged their lives to protect the realm. Within its walls, the castle was alive with the diligent hum of ongoing preparation. The clattering of metal echoed as blacksmiths worked tirelessly to craft and repair weapons, ensuring the armory was always stocked, ready for any threat that might loom on the horizon. And so, life within these stone fortresses was a delicate balance, one of peace underpinned by militaristic readiness. The origins of these grand fortifications can be traced back to the 9th and 10th centuries, when the spectre of Viking raids prompted the construction of early Motte and Bailey castles. Over time, these simple wooden structures evolved into the stone castles we recognize today, with walls that seemed to reach the sky and gates that were fortified with iron. Castles such as the famed Windsor Castle, begun by William the Conqueror in the 1070s, became symbols of Norman authority in England. The castle's height was more than mere intimidation. It allowed inhabitants to survey the surrounding lands, ever vigilant against approaching foes. As the years passed, the art of fortification advanced. The concentric castle, with its multiple layers of walls, became a prevalent design by the late 12th century. Each wall stood as a bastion of layered defense, making it increasingly arduous for enemies to breach the castle's sanctum. In the event of a siege, these designs provided strategic advantage, allowing defenders to fall back to the inner bailey while still maintaining defensive positions. The moats that surrounded these castles were often filled with water or left dry as additional obstacles. Their purpose extended beyond defense. The serene waters mirrored the looming walls, creating an imposing visual deterrent. The life of a knight, entrenched in chivalry and martial prowess, was dedicated to the defense of their liege lord's castle. Their armor, a glimmering mosaic of metal, was meticulously maintained, each plate polished to deflect both blade and arrow. Within the castle, the training grounds resonated with the clash of swords and the spirited shouts of men honing their skills. Archery practice was routine, as the castle's defense often relied on a rain of arrows to repel assailants before they reached the walls. In times of peace, the castle was a place of calculated preparation. Supplies were stockpiled within the vast storerooms, where the cool air preserved grains and cured meats. The importance of these supplies became acutely evident during a siege, when self-sufficiency within the castle walls could determine the outcome of conflict. The castle's well, a vital source of fresh water, was protected zealously, sometimes hidden within the inner courtyard or the keep itself. During such sieges, the role of every inhabitant, from the lowliest servant to the highest-ranking knight, was vital. The castle's inhabitants transformed into a close-knit unit of defenders, each with tasks that could mean the difference between survival and defeat. The rhythms of daily life continued, albeit disrupted by the urgency of defense. Women of the castle often took on roles as caretakers, tending to the wounded and ensuring that meals were prepared, even under the threat of potential attack. As night fell, and the shadows of twilight cloaked the castle, torches lined the battlements. Their flickering light cast long shadows that danced across the stone. The guards, ever vigilant, paced the walls, their eyes trained on the horizon. Below, in the great hall, the air was often filled with the warmth of bodies gathered together, drawing support from each other's presence. And yet, despite the constant readiness for war, the castle was not solely a place of conflict. Within its walls, life flourished. Children played within the courtyards, their laughter a reminder of life's continuance and the future generations that would inherit the castle's legacy. Feasts held in the great halls were occasions of joy and celebration, where stories of valor and chivalry were recounted, solidifying the bonds between lord and vassals. In time, as the threat of war ebbed and flowed, castles began to evolve from purely military edifices into homes of nobility, centers of administration and culture. The defensive aspects remained, but they began to share space with tapestries and art, music and literature. Though never forgotten, the primary role of the castle as a bastion of defense slowly integrated into a more multifaceted existence. The legacy of these medieval strongholds endures, their stone walls standing as silent witnesses to centuries of history. As the sun sets over these ancient edifices, one can imagine the echoes of the past, of clanging swords and whispered strategies, of knights and stewards, all guardians of a life that balanced on the edge of peace and preparation for war. In the echoes of time, where the stone walls of medieval castles stand tall against the horizon, a quieter story unfolds, one of art and leisure amidst the rigors of medieval life. Within these formidable fortresses, a culture of refinement thrived, nurturing the creative spirits of those who dwelt within. The noble lords and ladies, often perceived as warriors and rulers, were also patrons of the arts, reveling in pursuits that fed the intellect and soothed the soul. As the afternoon sun cast its golden light through the narrow windows of the great hall, the gentle strumming of a lute would fill the air, its soft notes mingling with the warm aroma of beeswax candles. Skilled troubadours, a staple of the 12th century, wandered from court to court, recounting epic tales of chivalry and unrequited love. Their verses, often in the Languedoc of southern France, painted vivid pictures of distant lands and heroic deeds, transporting listeners beyond the castle walls. In time, the written word also took hold. Manuscripts painstakingly copied by hand by monks in dimly lit scriptoria found their way into the castle libraries. By the 14th century, illuminated manuscripts became treasured possessions, with their vibrant colors and gilded pages offering a glimpse into the divine. These books, often bound in leather and adorned with heraldic symbols, were not only sources of knowledge but objects of art in themselves. The art of falconry, too, exemplified the aristocratic pursuit of leisure with an elegant grace. On crisp mornings, noblemen and women would don their leather gloves and venture into the surrounding forests, their hawks perched regally upon their wrists. The birds, with their keen eyes and swift flights, embodied the blend of nature and nobility, a dance between man and beast that was as much a sport as it was a status symbol. As the years passed, the game of chess, its origins rooted in ancient India, became a favored pastime in castle parlors. The carved pieces, often made of ivory or fine wood, stood as miniature warriors upon a checkered battlefield. Kings and queens, bishops and knights, each move a strategic gambit, mirroring the political maneuvers outside the castle walls. This game of intellect intrigued noble minds, offering a cerebral respite from their daily duties. In the evenings, the great hall transformed into a stage for more theatrical displays. Minstrels, acrobats, and jesters entertained with performances that brought laughter and joy, their colorful costumes flickering in the torchlight. The sounds of drums and flutes, the clapping of hands, and the occasional roar of laughter added to the festive atmosphere, drawing nobles and servants alike into the revelry. Meanwhile, the ladies of the castle often gathered in solar rooms, spaces bathed in the gentler glow of the sun. Here, they engaged in embroidery, weaving intricate tapestries that told stories of family history and legendary adventures. The rhythmic motion of needles through fabric was both a meditative practice and a way to pass down cherished narratives from one generation to the next. And so, the castles also became centers of education. Tutors hired by the wealthiest families taught the children of nobility the skills necessary for life at court. Lessons in Latin, music, and rhetoric were common, as were instructions in the arts of hunting and courtship. The echoes of their learning, the gentle rustle of parchment, and the soft murmur of lessons drifted through the castle's chambers. As the medieval era progressed, particularly in the 15th century, the Renaissance began to cast its enlightening shadow over Europe, transforming the cultural landscape. Castles became not only fortresses of defense, but also bustling hubs of creativity and intellectual exchange. The influence of Italian artistry and philosophy seeped into these northern strongholds, bringing with it a renewed interest in the classical ideals of beauty and balance. Thus, within the stone bastions where life was often harsh and uncertain, the arts provided a sanctuary of beauty and contemplation. Through music and storytelling, games and education, the inhabitants of these medieval castles found respite from the world's demands, nurturing a culture of refinement that resonated through the ages, leaving behind a legacy of artistic achievement that continues to inspire. And so, as the candlelight flickers on these bygone scenes, we find ourselves drawn into a world where elegance and intellect intertwined with everyday life. This tapestry of art and leisure, woven into the very fabric of medieval existence, provides a soothing counterpoint to the strength and endurance for which this era is often remembered. As evening shadows lengthen and the day gives way to night, we find ourselves at the close of our journey through medieval castle life. Our exploration has taken us through the bustling life within these stone fortresses, revealing the echoes of a time long past. And now, as we ponder the legacy of these edifices, we must consider how they have transitioned from functional strongholds to enduring symbols of history and nostalgia. With each passing year, the robust walls of medieval castles have witnessed the sweeping changes of time, standing as silent sentinels over centuries of transformation. The decline of castle life began subtly. Around the 15th century, as advancements in warfare and society rendered these formidable structures less essential. With the advent of gunpowder and cannons, the thick stone walls that once provided security became increasingly vulnerable. The siege of Harlech Castle in 1468, marked by the efficiency of cannon fire, signaled the twilight of an era. It was a poignant moment, the old defenses crumbling before the relentless march of innovation. And so, as the years passed, castles gradually lost their martial purpose. The rise of centralized monarchies and the development of standing armies reduced the need for these scattered bastions of local power. The great castles of Europe, like the majestic Château de Chambord in France, began to transform. Constructed in the early 16th century by King Francis I, this structure was more a testament to Renaissance elegance than medieval might, signifying the shift from fortification to opulence. Yet even as their military utility waned, castles found new roles. Many were repurposed into stately homes or administrative centers. Some, like the Grand Alhambra in Spain, evolved into cultural landmarks, showcasing the rich fusion of Moorish and Christian influences. The intricate carvings and lush gardens offered a tranquil retreat, a place where the arts could flourish amid the ruins of past conflicts. In time, the image of the castle became entwined with romantic ideals. The 19th century Gothic revival breathed new life into their stones as writers and artists looked back with longing at the age of chivalry. Sir Walter Scott's novels, such as Ivanhoe, painted vivid tapestries of knightly deeds and courtly love. His work sparked a renewed interest in the medieval, leading to the restoration of many castles. The iconic Edinburgh Castle, perched high above the city, underwent significant renovations during this period, preserving its regal silhouette against the skyline. As the industrial age dawned, castles served as a bridge to the past, a reminder of the simplicity and fortitude of earlier times amidst the rapid march of progress. Travelers, seeking respite from the bustling cities, would embark on grand tours of Europe, marveling at these remnants of history. Romantic poets and painters captured their essence, creating works filled with haunting beauty and timeless grandeur. Today, many castles stand not as relics but as cherished symbols, inviting us to reflect on their enduring influence. The fairy tale charm of Neuschwanstein Castle in Bavaria draws countless visitors, its turrets and spires piercing the sky like a scene from a dream. This 19th century marvel, inspired by the myths of old, embodies the enduring allure of castles as places of wonder and enchantment. And as we stand in their shadow, we can almost hear the whispers of those who once walked their halls. The clang of armor, the murmur of courtly intrigue, the laughter and music that filled the air during grand feasts. These echoes of life resonate within us, stirring our imagination and connecting us to a shared cultural memory that transcends time. In this modern age, castles continue to inspire. From literature to film, their timeless architecture and storied pasts provide a rich tapestry for creative minds. They are backdrops for epic tales and romantic sagas, settings where the past and present converge in a dance of shadows and light. As we conclude this journey, let us remember that the true legacy of castle life lies not just in their enduring stone walls, but in their ability to captivate and inspire. They remind us of our roots, of the strength and resilience found in history. In their quiet majesty, castles invite us to explore the boundaries of our imagination, to dream of knights and ladies, of battles and peace, and to ponder the endless passage of time. In this gentle twilight, as we close the pages of this chapter, we carry with us the reflections of an era defined by castles. Their legacy endures, a timeless testament to the rich tapestry of human history, ever inviting us to look back with both wonder and nostalgia at the world they once shaped.